Think back to the last time you stayed until 3 a.m. preparing for an exam. You had a strange glow and a false sense of confidence. But accompanying that glow was a deep underlying anxiety. You had a fear if a question was twisted or if you blanked for a moment, everything might collapse. Because deep down you feel uncomfortable. This knowledge didn't belong to you. You often treat learning as if the brain were a digital download folder, and that's why you cram and save data without integrating. But your brain is a biological organ with a strict energy budget and an emotional gatekeeper. Cramming is a high anxiety energy heist. You learn a large volume of isolated data in a very short time. But because there are no anchors, the brain prepares to delete it before you even walk into the exam. Today, we are going to discuss how integrating this isolated data with your existing knowledge triggers the dopamine your brain needs for deep, permanent mastery. When you cram, you are using primarily the posterior region of the brain. This area handles only the basic comprehension. This is a trap. You understand the words on the page, you feel confident, but understanding is not the same as owning the ideas. When you cram, ideas won't integrate with the existing knowledge. They are not connected to anything you already know. This creates neurological friction because the data is floating without anchors. You live in a state of fear, the fear of forgetting. If there is no pleasure in the task, the biological reality is that your brain will eventually resist and will refuse to continue learning. To move beyond this anxiety, the information must reach the prefrontal cortex. Integrating knowledge has resistance initially. Unlike the easy recognition of the posterior region, the prefrontal cortex requires a conscious, effortful process. And you have to ask, how does this relate to what I learned last month? This phase feels harder. It is slow, but once this conscious process begins, the prefrontal cortex takes over the heavy lifting. It begins weaving the new thread into the existing neural architecture. You are no longer just holding a fact, you are building a system. As the prefrontal cortex successfully integrates the information, you move from the recognition to deep understanding. The moment you realize you can handle a complex task, or when you truly understand the mechanics, the brain rewards you. That satisfaction triggers the release of dopamine. That is not just a feel-good chemical, it's a biological signal to the brain that this specific information is a valuable asset, not just a background noise. Unlike the cortisol-soaked experience of cramming, integrated learning becomes self-sustaining. While you sleep, your brain performs a cold, calculated audit of your energy spent. During sleep, your brain looks at isolated data from cramming, data that caused anxiety and offered no pleasure, and will label that as metabolic noise. Through active forgetting, it clears the cache to save the resources, but information integrated into the prefrontal cortex will trigger the dopamine hit. The brain identifies that as permanent architecture and strengthens it. The next time you study, check your pulse. If you feel the anxiety of learning concepts in isolation, you are cramming. You are burning energy on a product that will be deleted. Stop chasing the glow of cramming. Push through the initial learning of resistance of the prefrontal cortex and do the hard work of connecting the new ideas to the old. Seek the click of deep understanding. Don't just study for the exam. Build the architecture of your intelligence. Stop cramming. Start integrating. Thank you.